It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast on this, the 24th day of December, Christmas Eve. Of course, today's show is brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scooter Round, and by chilliescruises. A couple things to go over today, folks. Yes, today is Christmas Eve. I do have my schedule straightened out. Those of you that watched the show on Monday, I have figured out what day is when. According to Nestor, I just checked with him just literally seconds before we went on the air, and he's doing some tracking for me. It seems that the other fat guy in the red suit is located somewhere in the vicinity of Bangkok, Thailand. He'll be about 12 and a half hours till he comes to see this fat guy tonight. By the way, it's so warm on Christmas Eve here in Virginia. Santa doesn't want milk and cookies. He wants a bourbon and a Diet Coke, and I'm going to take care of that when he gets here. Just saying. All right, today is National Eggnog Day. I like eggnog, but not the way my dad used to do it. My dad every year made eggnog and dumped some kind of rot gut whiskey in it, and it was awful. Just awful. Of course, my dad didn't have much taste in bourbon, but it was just terrible. I like just plain eggnog. Doesn't have to have any booze in it. This day in history, folks, in 1893, Henry Ford completes his first gas-fueled engine, which immediately started us on the way of developing smog. And we've become really good at that. This is an absolutely terrible news day, folks. I mean, I've really struggled to put a show together today. The lead story this morning, a cruise guest swept away. Also today, Rome to charge €2 entry fee at Trevi Fountain starting in 26. The French Riviera imposes new cruise limits. Man, I'm getting tired of hearing about that. Seems like every day there's a new fee or new cruise limits someplace. Utopia misses beach club's big day. A cruise mom arrested for tackling a teen. The Princess Float christened, and lots more here live at 11 o'clock this morning. Yeah, I know, folks. Things were a little off in the way of order there. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net. Or wherever you get your podcast from, just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the fat guy. All right, we've got a couple quick little things before we actually get to the news today, folks. Most of you know, yesterday I went for the third and final infusion. This one kind of knocked me on my butt. I was not totally sick, but borderline sick from it. But I had a killer headache. So I was just not in good spirits last night. But glad that's over with. You know, I've talked a little bit about cold weather up there with amigo John up in Christened, Minnesota. How about Nate up in Juneau? Minus 22. Yeah, no thanks, folks. We do have a wheelchair person in space, or she went to space and is back down. German aerospace engineer Michaela Benhaus became the first wheelchair user to travel to space, flying on the Blue Origin New Shepard rocket, experiencing weightlessness and aiming to inspire greater accessibility in space and on Earth. You know, folks, I try to inspire people just to get on a cruise ship. This lady, she's inspiring people to go into outer space. I think she probably does a little better job than I do. Her historic suborbital flight marked the significant milestone for inclusivity in space travel, proving that individuals with disabilities can reach space and highlighting ongoing efforts to make the final frontier more accessible. Congratulations to Michaela. I think that was awesome. I followed along on her efforts, and the trip was postponed a couple times, delayed. Glad to see that they finally made it. I think that's just awesome. All right, don't forget, folks, since I screwed it all up on Monday, February 6th and February 23rd, there will be no shows on those 2 days. Those are going to be travel days around the Grandiosa back-to-back on February 7th and 14th with our gang. And of course, after that cruise, I will be going to Louisville and on the show after the 23rd, and be the first show from the new digs in Kentucky. So looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to moving, but I am looking forward to getting there and getting done and getting started. The other thing, Eli yesterday, Elizabeth on location down in Playa, she had to, had to go back to Playa kind of unexpectedly from the Princess contract. And she could only get her old apartment for a limited number of days. So she had to move for the last few days of it. So this is the view from her new apartment. And I've got a little clip here from her. Always good to have stuff from Eli on this show. Why is that stuck? That's that one, isn't it? Yes. Okay. All right. That'll bring us up to where we can get started with what little bit of news there is, guys. So I'll be back with today's news after a quick break from one of our fine network sponsors. All right, Nestor, tell us about this lady that got swept away.
A German cruise passenger died during a port visit to Vigo, Spain, on Thursday, after being swept into the sea by powerful waves caused by high winds. The 85-year-old woman was traveling aboard Ada Mar and was part of a bus excursion to the nearby town of Bayona, according to Infobae. During the outing, she reportedly separated from the group and stepped onto coastal rocks to photograph the crashing waves. Weather conditions were hazardous at the time, with winds around 18 to 22 miles per hour and gusts exceeding 35 miles per hour. An orange weather alert had been issued for the coast due to strong winds and heavy swells. The incident occurred around 2:30 p.m. at Conchera Beach. A nearby witness saw the woman bend down to retrieve a dropped item before being swept away and immediately alerted lifeguards. Rescue teams, including maritime units, a helicopter, local police, and Civil Guard resources, were quickly dispatched. Despite the rapid response, the woman was later found deceased. 1 year after reopening following a 3-month restoration, Rome's Trevi Fountain, one of the city's most famous landmarks, is set to introduce a new entry fee aimed at addressing overtourism. The 18th-century Baroque fountain, immortalized in classic films such as Three Coins in the Fountain, La Dolce Vita, and Roman Holiday, attracts tens of thousands of visitors each day. Beginning February 1, 2026, tourists will be required to pay a €2 fee, approximately $2.35, to access the area closest to the fountain during daylight hours. According to reporting from Deutsche Welle, Roman residents will continue to enjoy free access. Visitors who choose not to pay will still be able to view the fountain, but only from a designated distance. Rome's mayor, Roberto Galtieri, said the Trevi Fountain receives up to 30,000 visitors daily, while current crowd control measures allow only about 400 people at a time near the basin through a queuing system. The Trevi Fountain is not the only attraction affected. Several other popular cultural sites in Rome will introduce entry fees in the coming year, including the Villa of Maxentius, the Napoleonic Museum, the Baracco Museum, the Carlo Bellotti Museum, and the Pietro Canonica Museum. Travelers with disabilities, along with one accompanying guest, and children under the age of 5 will be exempt from the new fees. We've got exclusive discounts in Orlando and surrounding areas this holiday season. Save big on all mobility equipment rentals, including scooters, wheelchairs, power chairs, and rollators. This offer is valid for popular locations like Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, and more. Rentals in Orlando are 20% off when booked by December 31st, and 25% off if you pick up directly from our Scootaround location. Call Scootaround toll-free at 1-888-441-7575 or reserve online. Use SRN 11137. French authorities have officially implemented new regulations that will reshape cruise operations along the Alpes-Maritimes coastline, commonly known as the French Riviera, one of the Mediterranean's busiest cruise regions. The new decree aims to ease overcrowding while preserving the economic benefits cruise tourism brings to coastal communities such as Nice, Cannes, Villefranche-sur-Mer and Menton. Under the rules, ports across the département will face a cap on how many cruise passengers can disembark each day. On average, ports will be limited to 2,000 passengers per port call per day over the course of a year. On particularly busy days, that figure may increase to 3,000 passengers disembarking at the same time, provided the annual daily average does not exceed the 2,000 passenger limit. The regulations also limit the frequency of large ship visits. Cruise vessels carrying more than 1,300 passengers will be restricted to 1 ship per day per anchorage or stopover area. During the peak summer season, from July 1st through August 31st, those large ship calls will be capped at 15 per month. These restrictions do not apply to ships that are docked at port rather than anchored offshore. Cruise lines that have signed the Sustainable Mediterranean Cruise Charter will receive priority for scheduling and authorizations. The updated 2025 charter, signed earlier this year by most major cruise companies, strengthens commitments to protecting biodiversity and marine life, including cetaceans, while also reducing waste, sea discharges, noise, light pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. It further encourages the use of low-emission transportation for shore excursions and calls on cruise operators to help manage overcrowding at popular tourist sites. The Cruise Lines International Association, CLIA, acknowledged the collaborative nature of the new rules but emphasized the need to consider the long-term planning cycle of cruise itineraries. As cruise itineraries are planned years ahead, regulatory measures must take this long-term cycle into account, including their economic implications for local communities, the organization said. CLIA also cautioned that certain aspects of the decree could affect the economic vitality of regions that welcome cruise ships and the wider tourism ecosystem, underscoring the importance of ongoing review and adjustments in consultation with stakeholders. Earlier this year, cities including Nice and Cannes considered implementing their own cruise limits. Those individual efforts ultimately gave way to a coordinated regional approach to managing cruise traffic, with CLIA participating in the planning discussions. Royal Caribbean's first-ever Royal Beach Club Paradise Island officially opened yesterday in Nassau, Bahamas, but Utopia of the Seas was unable to attend. Due to high winds, the Oasis-class ship could not safely dock during its scheduled 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. port call. Guests on the 4-night sailing from Port Canaveral were informed that winds reaching around 22 miles per hour, with stronger gusts, made docking unsafe for one of the world's largest cruise ships. As a result, the ship will spend the day at sea, with additional onboard activities added. Shore excursions, including beach club passes, will be automatically refunded. While 5 other ships successfully docked in Nassau that day, their size does not compare to Utopia of the Seas, where safety ultimately guided the captain's decision. Rather than making her way home after a Bahamas getaway cruise, one passenger, a 38-year-old woman from Minnesota, was put behind bars. Petra Ann Gransberry was arrested by Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office authorities when her ship, Carnival Conquest, returned to Port Miami on Monday following a 3-night cruise to Celebration Key, Carnival's private destination on Grand Bahama Island. Local media reports described how Gransberry, who was traveling with her sons, became angry after finding out that her children had been attacked by other young guests. The woman was said to be talking with the ship's security team members when she saw a group of young people running and assumed they were the ones who had hit her children. Gransberry allegedly ran after the group, tackled one boy, and grabbed his collar. The sheriff's deputy's report indicates that the woman later said she accidentally fell on the child. Princess Cruises embraced a cherished maritime tradition in a uniquely festive way, celebrating a symbolic christening of its Rose Parade float with a ceremonial break of a bottle of Pantalones organic tequila. The christening took place at the Pasadena facilities of Artistic Entertainment Services, the builder behind the float's floral and signature design.
Cruise around the world with the Will Model C2. That's the chair that I use. Our chairs will easily fit through accessible cabin doors and can navigate those tight spaces and crowded places. To see if Will may be right for you, click on the link below to schedule a test drive. Just tell them to use code Chillie for all your mobility needs. That's scootaroundstore.com. All right, that's actually going to put an end to the news portion of today's show. Told you there wasn't a whole lot of news this morning, folks. Let's go see who's over in the chat room here on this lovely Christmas Eve morning. Hotter Tom's with us, says Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. Mike's here. Says good morning to everybody. There's Sunny down in Mississippi. Says Merry Christmas to all. Gary Older Than Dirt says the same. He's out in California. New York Times suggests Maker's Mark for good eggnog. Yeah. I just like plain eggnog. I don't care about the booze. I mean, and it's not that I don't like booze. I love booze. I love Maker's Mark. So, I just like the eggnog. But oh my goodness, the way my dad used to make it. Of course, my dad used to drink old Granddad. I'm glad my taste buds are a little more developed than his were. Bob's with us. Bob says Merry Christmas to all. Have a great day. There's Katie. Katie's getting ready to go on another boat. Kenneth's with us, says good morning, Chillie and everybody. Merry Christmas to all. Kenneth, I hope your store's busy. Mike says Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. Jamin's with us, says the same. Katie says, yep, cruising in 2 days. There's Roger down in Jacksonville. Merry Christmas from Jacksonville. Always good to see you, Roger. All right, guys. I realize this is kind of an abbreviated show today. Just wasn't a whole lot of content available. What can I say? All right, guys. That's going to wrap me up. I do have some stuff to do today to get ready for get ready for this evening. Amanda has changed her mind. She says she's going to and decided to go with the paella tonight instead of tomorrow. I think she was worried about the seafood sitting 24 hours. So I'm okay with that. I don't mind celebrating tonight. I am, because some of you are probably sticking your nose up at paella for Christmas. I'm looking forward to it. First time I had paella, I was in Malaga, Spain. I take that back. I was the next night. I was in Torremolinos, Spain. Was the first time I had paella. I fell in love with it that night, and I've liked it ever since. Don't think I've ever had a bad paella anywhere, and I've had it literally. I've eaten paella all over this country and a good bit of Europe. Never had a bad one. And you can put lots of different stuff in it. It's kind of like, what's the crazy stuff that the hunters around here make, that they put deer meat and, I don't know, rats and dogs, or I don't know what else goes. Brunswick stew, that's it. I'm not a big fan of that, but it's like that. You can put any number of things in it. Amanda's doing a seafood paella as opposed to a meat paella, I guess, or a vegetable paella. I don't know. Sonny says the only time I've had paella was in Malaga, Spain. There you go, Malaga, Spain. I was at Torremolinos, which is right up the road from Malaga. So, yep, that was good stuff. All right, guys, that's going to put an end to today's show. Again, I will be back Friday. There's no canceled shows this week. I got the cart before the horse, or my tongue was over my eye teeth and I couldn't see what I was saying or whatever. So we got that all straightened out, thanks to you guys. So, all right, guys. I do hope you know how much I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you all have a very blessed Christmas, no matter how you celebrate it. Just have a Merry Christmas and a fabulous New Year's coming up. Going to be a New Year's with some changes for me. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll keep trying to do what I do every day. So, all right, guys. That's it for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising and traveling, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a great Christmas Eve and a great Christmas Day, guys. I'll see everybody back here on Friday. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chilliescruises.